And welcome back to Let's Play Silent Hill 4, The Room. Last time, we awoke to find that Henry Townsend has been trapped in his apartment, locked from the inside, for days. Afterwards, a hole broke open in the wall in his bathroom, which teleported him into a subway. That's the kind of game we're dealing with at the moment. We found a woman named Cynthia, who we quickly became separated from, after which Henry crawled into another hole and found himself back in the apartment, where everything seems to be in order, except for... Was this crooked when we left? This furniture has been here since I moved in. Huh? That's weird. Somebody moved it. Well, we can't have that. That's just an affront to our aesthetics. Let's straighten this out. And, who could have done it? Well, what do we have here? There's a pistol on the floor. Will you take the pistol? Well, I see no reason not to. We could probably use all the help we could get if we're going back into that spooky subway. And you get the pistol. The pistol on hard mode can only hold 8 bullets, but it's an easy-to-use ranged weapon. This is one of the things that changes between the difficulty levels. The amount of bullets that the pistol can hold, as well as how much ammo you get per ammo pickup, is reduced going up to higher difficulties. You have 12 bullets to work with per pack on easy mode, 10 per ammo pickup on normal, and only 8 on hard mode. So one of the things to reduce the overall effectiveness of firearms, which were already pretty heavily reduced from their usability in Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, but we'll be going over that as it becomes more relevant. You probably already noticed that the wall's a little jacked up here. Looks like we got something inscribed here. There's a message carved in here. It looks like they used an ice pick or something. The faint hope I had is slowly changing to despair. I've somehow managed to tunnel this far, but no matter what I do, I can't get any farther. The hallway, the windows, the walls. Feels like this room is stuck in another dimension. Eileen never noticed. Eileen? Well, yeah, she is, Henry's neighbor, so I presume this hole would look into her apartment.
Where did I put that damn broom? Oh, there it is.
I could see Eileen was having one of those moments that I usually have where I'm looking for my phone only to realize it's right behind my keyboard in front of me. Sounds like our phone is ringing once again. Kind of impressive that it's managing to do that, considering the landline has been severed completely, but I guess that's neither here nor there.
Where did you go? Hurry! Save me! If you need a token, there's one here.
Well, that sounds like Cynthia. It does not sound like she's doing terribly well. Very weirdly, that is a cutscene you absolutely cannot skip. It's 10 seconds you have to spend watching it, which actually does kind of cause a problem. Well, not a problem, but it is an annoying time waster if you're going for a ranked run, because unlike the previous games in the series, the timer is running during the cutscenes, something that hasn't been true since the first Silent Hill. Also, you guys hear something? So, looks like Eileen takes it upon herself to do a little housekeeping work for the apartment. Guessing the landlord can't always be bothered to do it himself, or perhaps he's enlisted her. Either way, yes, we do a lot of peeping in this game. This is what desperate people had to do before OnlyFans was a thing, kids. Anyway, we know Cynthia might just be having some trouble, so we better enter the hole and see what we can find. Thankfully, every successive entry into a hole does not require that you crawl through manually. Instead, you get a little cutscene of you getting pulled through at rapid speeds. Surprised Henry doesn't shoot out of the hole on the other side at that rate. And after a generous loading screen, we are back in the subway. And... oh, that's different. Some kind of mannequin. It's got a coin in its hand. Oh. Not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm guessing this is the token that Cynthia was talking about. The Lynch Street line coin. It's actually line coins, and how many times can you use this? As many times as you need to get through the turnstile, so infinite tokens. You guys hear something? Yeah, probably just my imagination. Well, not much else to check out here. We've eliminated the sniffer dogs, so we don't have to worry about them. You can check out the men's room here, although there really isn't anything worthy of note in here. No items to pick up. It's just another bathroom, as is obligatory to obtain in Silent Hill games. I remember a long time ago, I was reading GameFAQs message boards for Silent Hill games, and one of the descriptions I saw for the series is that it's like Resident Evil, but with bathrooms, which I suppose isn't an inaccurate descriptor. Anyways, since we haven't had a chance to use it, let's whip out the wine bottle and see what it is like to club something with it. Fortunately, we've got another sniffer dog here. If you've ever played Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, you would know that a wine bottle is sturdy enough to actually be smashed over someone's head without it breaking. However, in that case, it was only used once, so after enough successive whacks with the wine bottle... Oh, hey. Yeah, one thing that's annoying about fighting these sniffer dogs is that they have a very, very random attack pattern when it comes to lunging. There we go. And after enough swings, the wine bottle will eventually break, but fortunately, since glass is very sharp, it actually becomes a stronger weapon at this point. Not that it's really any better than the steel pipe. Come on, sniffer dog. Mistimed my sidestep there. Yeah, these sniffer dogs just have so much randomness in their attack patterns. It really does make them one of the more dangerous enemies in the game, funnily enough. I'm not overly concerned about it, though, because we'll have options to recover our health before we're done with this area. Give them a quick stomp, and we are going to put the wine bottle away for the rest of the game. I just wanted to take the opportunity to show it off. Now, we do have to use our line coins to get through these turnstiles, but there is a extra item pickup we can get if we head this way. There are also more sniffer dogs on the route. In addition... What the heck is that over there? That weird fleshy tube thing is an enemy known as the Greedy Worm. You can attack it, but it is invincible, and it can't do anything to you in return, so best to avoid it altogether. Sniffer dogs take a whopping 4 handgun bullets to knock over, at which point you can just stomp them dead. This guy, we don't need to waste any additional ammo on him, so we will go for standard pipe whacks. Okay. Yeah, always want to get these guys up against the wall. Gotta be careful. There is a bit of ending lag on the pipe swing, and your invincibility frames only last for the duration of the attack. As you can see, I'm getting shown the business by this sniffer dog, just because of how random it can be on its lunges. So let's play a little bit safer here. And, whoop, got lucky there, it just went past me. Yeah, like I said, sniffer dogs can be quite dangerous on hard mode. If this goes a little bit more poorly, I might just have to whip out the handgun to finish it off. Let's see if we can't get in close. Okay, back up. And whoop. Nope. Yeah, come on, come on. We can do this. And just give him a quick whack. Let him lunge at us. Oh dear. Alright, and... Okay, wait, back up here. Will that take him out? No, geez. This guy's resilient. Oh, dear. Okay, I might have screwed up here. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, let's actually not take our chances here. Let's whip out the hand. Actually, hold on. I'm going to make a diplomatic decision here. Yeah, unfortunately, fighting these things with the steel pipe is not the way to go. But it does allow me to segue into something that I'd want to show off eventually anyway. Let's actually run back to the tunnel here. And I know this is not exactly the most impressive display of gameplay you've ever seen, but it's all for a greater purpose here. Let's return to the hole, and fortunately, the tunnel sequences, you can actually skip the cutscene. And we will find ourselves back in room 302 once again. And after a brief rising sequence, you will find that your HP is gradually restoring as you are in room 302, and this is how you want to restore your health. Unless you are on a serious time crunch doing a ranked run, you should always return to room 302 at this point in the game to restore your health, because it's completely free healing, and it's not like we have any healing items at this point anyway, but you should always do this, and after a certain amount of time, like magic, our health is restored. Good to go. Let's return to the subway and probably do our best to juke around that sniffer dog. Unfortunately, fighting things with the steel pipe can be very dicey, or at the very least, fighting the sniffer dogs with it is pretty dicey. There are vastly superior melee weapons available later in the game that actually do give us a bit of a running start and allow us to much more easily connect our charge attacks, particularly against enemies like the sniffer dogs, who constantly do their own sidesteps and dodges to avoid our hits. With that said, though, let's actually go back to that area for the real reason I was going, because there is an item for us to pick up, and if there's only one sniffer dog for me to maneuver around, ideally I can probably get him trapped against a wall, and if I do have to fight, that is the ideal way to go with the weapons that we currently have. One thing to note about enemies in Silent Hill 4, some of them will retain their position between room transitions. Some of them will actually reset. It's not really consistent which enemies will do this, although it is, or rather, there's not really any consistency to this with the enemies. Fortunately, it also looks like he remembered his health. What was I trying to say? What enemies will do this and what enemies don't do this are just completely random, honestly. And the reason you want to come here was pistol bullets. But some enemies do actually reset their position on a screen transition, some enemies do not. Sniffer dogs do not, and this can actually be really unfortunate in the next major area we have to go to, and I'll be sure to point that out when it becomes relevant. There is a certain point in the game, though, where the enemies introduced at that point, for reasons that I can pretty safely guess why. Those enemies actually do reset their position on screen transition. Speaking of screen transitions, heading into the next area. Alright, gonna pause here so I get a chance to explain this. We've got one of the major enemy types of Silent Hill 4, the victim ghosts. Victims of what exactly? We'll find out later. But victim ghosts are immortal enemies that hound you throughout the levels that you visit in this game. They don't appear on every screen, but you're guaranteed to run into at least a couple of them as you are exploring the various levels in this game. Victim ghosts, as I said, are immortal. They cannot be killed, though you can beat them down and incapacitate them for a while with enough damage. It is really undesirable to attempt to fight them, though, as they cause damage to you just by being in their presence. If they are close to you after about 5 seconds or so, Henry will take a full segment off of his life bar in damage, and that damage can add up quickly, especially if you're surrounded by multiple ghosts. On top of that, ghosts also have their own physical attacks that they can perform on you, so it really is just prudent to avoid them as much as possible, and fortunately, they move pretty erratically. They'll always be trying to hone in on your position, but it's not too difficult to avoid them most of the time. Cynthia seems to be trapped in the train. Perhaps we can free her. Let's look for something that can get her out of her predicament here. If we head down to the head train car, you'll notice that there is a red light indicating that there is something for us to do here, and unlike Silent Hill 3, we do not get ambushed by dogs entering this area. Alright, just push this button, and the car's door is open. With that, a couple of the train car doors will open up. Naturally, the one that had Cynthia opened up. This one also opened up, but there's nothing in here, except a ghost. We better start running. Cynthia will be trailing behind us at this point, and she does well to keep up with us. She is also immortal and cannot be killed, so you do not have to worry about protecting her. Hey, what's with this vending machine? Strange vending machine. It says 1 bd on it. Wonder what a bd is. Well, perhaps we'll find out later. Heading into this subway car, we'll find ourselves in a makeshift maze of train cars, so to speak. There's a toy box here. It has 1000 bd written on it. It's locked and I can't open it. Wonder if that'll ever become a factor. Anyways, this is a little confusingly laid out, but fortunately I've played this game enough that I know the way to get through this. With only one bumble through the area on average, so we actually want to get into this car over here and start backtracking. and then head down this way and into here. We got another door to go through. Mostly it's just the weird camera angle that they went for with this area that makes it a little difficult to navigate. You do want to move through it pretty quickly because there is a ghost that can get in and start trapping you. It's the old lady ghost who will start hassling you pretty badly in the train car if you dilly-dally too long. Heading past that guy and up these stairs, we will find ourselves quickly blockaded, but our efforts exploring this area aren't for naught, as there are pistol bullets for us. So now we've got 2 reloads. Should be able to get to the street this way. It's a dead end. Yeah. Unlike other instances of dead ends, that actually does seem pretty impassable, and I feel like trying to move all that stuff while standing on the stairs actually would be rather dangerous. So perhaps it's understandable in this instance why Henry would want to look for another route around. Don't want to chuck a shelving unit down the stairs and accidentally take out Cynthia. Heading into this door.
Cynthia.
And much like a ghost herself, Cynthia has disappeared on us. If you backtrack through the door that we just entered, you will not find her. She is just gone for the time being. Where she could have gotten to, I can only speculate. Now, heading down into this lower area, we can get across here and go to this ladder to find some more pistol bullets, but more importantly than that, and you absolutely want to do this, there's this door here. We unlock it and go through it, and we find ourselves on the opposite platform that we started on. Very, very, very important that you do this, or else you will be supremely annoyed later in the game. But just trust me on this, you absolutely want to open that up. I'm going to quickly equip my pistol, because I plan to use it quite a bit in the upcoming train platforms. We've got some ghosts who will attempt to hassle us down here, but they are not too much of a problem. I would like to take this opportunity with the weird camera angles that we're seeing here. Silent Hill 4 does kind of have a problem with its movement, where it does not exactly retain your movement direction between camera angle switches very well. It will retain your movement for a little bit, like if you're holding down to go towards the camera, then suddenly the camera flips behind you. It'll retain that for like a second, and then it'll correct itself to what the correct movement should be, which honestly more often than not is just kind of annoying. It doesn't work super well. Not as well as they probably hoped. It's probably the most annoying thing about the movement in this game. Also, Henry's turning becomes pretty awkward when the camera angle switches. Now, you want to be very careful approaching this train here, as there are a ton of sniffer dogs in it. Highly recommend using the handgun here if you want to get into this train car area, because these things will swarm you and just absolutely deplete your health in a hurry if you go in guns blazing, or rather, swinging wildly. There's another one. I probably could take him out with the pipe, but given that we already had a pretty bad experience with that, I'm just going to shoot him down. There we go. No problem there. These pistol bullets are no good if we don't use them, and it's a good thing that I held off on going for pipe fighting, because we do have another one over here. Oop, getting a little too close for comfort here. Come on. Uh-oh. Okay. Let him get in close to us. We can sort of manipulate his movements by getting into here. He'll go right past us. Let's see if we can't trap him at all. The range on this is much less than you would like. Okay, let him come to us. Let him come to us. Oh, nope, nope, nope. That was a mistake. I am not very good at this game. Oop. Okay, let him come to us. Backing up on his hind legs again. Ooh, there we go. That's what you want to see. And yes, that should take him out. Good stuff, good stuff. Give him a quick stomp just to make sure. Though enemies usually have distinctive death cries. What do you get for coming in here? Well, looks like there's some kind of golf club here. It's a golf club. Looks like a 9-iron. Well, why don't we take it? Golf clubs are a unique weapon type in this game. There are actually many different golf clubs that you can get. All of them are functionally pretty similar. They all work like the steel pipe, but they have a much higher damage value. They are way stronger, but they are also limited use. They are breakable weapons. So Silent Hill Origins was not the game that introduced breakable weapons to this series. Over here, we've got a nutrition drink, which I'll explain that in a second. But yes, golf clubs are breakable, and they usually last for like 7 or 8 charge swings, and then they break, and then they just permanently take up inventory space. You have to store them in your chest. I'm going to quickly restore my health using this handy-dandy portal here, just on the safe side, to be on the safe side. Luckily, with the magic of editing, I can completely spare you the boring details of me just waiting for my health to recharge, because it does recharge pretty slowly. Now, before we head on these escalators, absolutely want to equip your pistol here. And before I forget, nutrition drinks are the renamed version of health drinks from previous games in the series. Now, in normal and easy, these do restore your HP by 25%, like the health drinks of former games do, or previous games rather. But in hard mode, healing items have their effectiveness reduced to 66% of their normal value. So the health drinks on hard mode, you heal around the ballpark of like between 15 to 20% of your HP. So they are not very good restoratives on this mode. And honestly, I would not really recommend picking this one up. I would recommend leaving it, but you know, I'll grab it now because it doesn't really hurt me to take it either. Heading up this escalator. Now you may wonder, if healing items are so weak and you can get fully healed by just returning to your apartment, why even bother picking them up? Seems like a waste of your limited inventory. Well, we'll get into that later. And when I say we'll get into that later, we're going to wait for it to become relevant. Also, that was terrible. But we've got enemies on this escalator ride, the Wallmen. Very easy way to get past these guys is to just shoot them to stun them, and you'll be able to quickly run past while they're reeling. Alternatively, you can wait for them to swing and run past them at that moment. But the thing is that much like the Sniffer Dog's lunges, their swing patterns are very random, so it's very easy to find yourself just getting hit doing that. Sometimes, though, they will launch you upwards, which is helpful when it happens. One thing to note is that if you decide to go up the down escalator instead, there are less wallmen on that side, so it's a little bit safer, but naturally it's also a lot more slow. Oop. Oh dear, this is going terrible. This is exactly how you don't want this escalator ride to go. Oh boy, there goes Henry's bad aim. Okay, that's not good. How many bullets we got? Not too many. So this isn't exactly going as I'd hope. Woo. There is one kind of jokey trick you can do to get past these things also without taking damage. When you examine the... whoops, that was not what I meant to use. Sorry, it looked very similar to this item. If you use the chocolate milk, that descriptive text actually gives you very brief invincibility frames. So you can use that to get past them if you time it just right, but it's a very narrow window. It's like 2 or 3 frames that it works. Well, that stunk. So yeah, because I wasted a couple of my shots there, we're kind of in a bad situation. Let's see if we can't get past these guys. Let that guy just get stunned a little bit, and that's fine if I get knocked over like that. We're getting close to the top of this. This guy, we're just gonna have to let him take a swipe. And unfortunately, yeah, like I said, the swing patterns are very random. Normally I have more ammo than that, but because I was going to get the golf club, naturally I had a lot less ammo. I know this is all making me look really bad at this game. Normally I just skip the golf club entirely, because the resources spent is not worth the resources gained, and you really do not have a consistent way to win those fights, short of using the handgun at this point. Speaking of which, we can get some pistol bullets to top ourselves off. But I want to show off as much as possible in this game, so gonna do things in a slightly suboptimal way and look terrible all the while. I assure you, funnily enough, the game is actually a bit tougher towards its early stages than it is in its later stages, and what do we have here? Looks like a bunch of women's cosmetics. Women's makeup items are scattered on the ground. This must be Cynthia's. I really hope that's rouge that's just scattered on the ground, but something tells me things might have gotten a little ugly here. There's a plate on the door. Remove the plate. Well, I see no reason not to. We get the Temptation placard. The first of 4 placards we'll be collecting in this game. Placard from Subway World. It shows a woman and says, Temptation. Wonder if that says something about the person who created this placard. Well, let's go in the door and see what awaits us.
Are you okay?
It's just a dream, right? I think I drank too much last night. I never got to do that special favor for you. I feel like I'm dying.
Okay. It's just a dream. Cynthia? Man, what's that noise out there?
Well, unfortunately, losing track of Cynthia had disastrous consequences, and she has met her demise. Quite a tragedy. Also, at this point, it's a photo of the Silent Hill Church. It's just a quick snapshot, but if I stare at it, I feel like I'm being sucked in. It makes me feel so strange. Every time you clear a world, or most every time, for the first half of the game, a lot of the flavor text around Henry's apartment will update, and he'll have new comments on them. There's so many weird stories about Silent Hill, but looking at the scenery, it's hard to believe that any of them are true. Note that Henry has a positive memory of Silent Hill and many photos of it at this point. It was a nice sunny day when I snapped this shot in downtown Silent Hill. The air was so fresh, and I felt so good. We don't really get much elaboration on what Henry's personal life was like, but considering that all the good chunk of these photos, it's a lighthouse near the lake in Silent Hill. There's an old amusement park by there. Well, call back to the first game, but considering that the majority of these photos seem to have been taken by him, I always like to assume that he's like a freelance photographer or something. Perfect kind of job for a hermit who avoids talking too much or forming too many relationships with people. For the first time, we have a reason to look out the window in our bedroom, and we can see emergency services. There's an ambulance and a police car near the subway entrance. Is it Cynthia? Well, we're not going to learn anything new just by peeping on the police, or the emergency medical workers. Just doing a quick sweep here. As you can see, get a slightly different angle of South Ashfield, though not too different from the living room. If you pay close attention to the actions of your neighbors, you'll notice that the positions and the people available to see will actually periodically change as you progress through the game.
Hurry up and get that ambulance. Quit yapping and move her already. Damn, she's got numbers carved into her chest. I wonder if...
You know, that radio report that we somehow were able to hear, perhaps just to taunt us, did make a good point. Cynthia had a unusual number carved into her chest, 16121. The pattern makes me think it means something. What could it possibly mean? Well, we don't really have much frame of reference for anything regarding it. We need to see more numbers like it to see if we could figure out a pattern.
And on a lighter note, we have a new addition to the zoo last night at 3 a.m.
Alright, we heard that one before. I forget how many random news stories you can tune into on the radio, but I believe there's like 4 or 5 that can appear. Actually pretty unfortunate that we got the same one twice in a row. Now, as the game progresses, you can continue to check out your various peeping locations from the window to the hole into Eileen's room for extra creepy value. Seems like Eileen has noticed something. Kind of makes me wonder how her bed is oriented in her room if it's not up against the rear wall. Is it just me, or is that doll back there look kind of familiar? If I could only get a better look at it. Oh well. Anything to say about the kitchen, Henry? Water still works, but I don't need any now. Gonna make some food? I should be hungry, but I'm not. Is my stomach paralyzed or something? That's a good point. It doesn't really seem like Henry has too much food in his house. He has to be surviving some way. My shoes. I don't need to change them right now. You'll notice that we have another piece of paper slipped under our door. This one is a lot different than the one we had the first time. There's a scrap of red paper stuck in here. Although the cult itself is gone, I'm sure the spirit of it is still alive. There's too many strange things happening in that town. I'm investigating 2 people, or maybe I should say just one. I've just about discovered what's going on. April 8. Interesting. It's a diary, but also seems to be an ongoing investigation of some sort. Wonder who could have written it. Looking out our peeping hole here, it's just me. It's the back wall, a bit different. Hey, who's this fellow? Well, this fine gentleman here is actually the super of South Ashfield Heights. South Ashfield has a live-in superintendent. This is Frank Sunderland. Fans of the Silent Hill series may recognize that surname, and within the game itself, it is in fact confirmed Frank is the father of James Sunderland, although he does not, based on what we discover, have a particularly warm relationship or a consistent one with his son, which we'll be covering later. But with that all said and done, we can drop off the items that we don't need in our chest. We won't need the Temptation placard for a while. We won't need the Lynch Street line coin since we're not going back to the subway. And we won't need the wine bottle, obviously. Everything else, though, we can keep. Now, we're not really given much direction on what to do at this point, but you may think to reinvestigate the bathroom. And if you do... The hole's getting bigger. Enter the hole? Well, not right now. I feel like this video's gone on long enough, but Henry, before we go, you gonna use the bathroom at all? I don't really have to go right now. You gotta go sooner or later, my man. Can't hold it forever. It's bad for your health. But yes, that is where we are going to end this video. And when we return, we will climb into the hole and see where it will take us now that it has enlarged in size. Probably not the subway. I'm pretty keen to video game logic, but that will be for next video. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, though, goodbye.